welcome back. It is another night routine tonight, and I'm awfully cozy in my bathrobe. It's gonna be a very, very chill night. We're gonna make some bread, and I'm just gonna take you along on what I do on a typical night. It is a Thursday, so I am excited for this week to be over. It's been a pretty long week. Didn't do a whole lot, but it's been a mentally exhausting week, if you will. So I am ready for the night. I'm going to be making bread because I never did that on Sunday this week, and that is something I typically do on Sundays. So I'm going to be doing that, and then just taking care of myself for the rest of the night and taking you along so you can see what that looks like and maybe motivate you to be a little bit more productive in self-care for yourself. So self-care can look different for everybody, whether that is doing some yoga, taking time to just sit there and think with yourself, taking time to journal. Those are all really awesome things, and you have to find what works for you, because what works for me may not work for you. I can suggest journaling, I can suggest all these things, I can suggest doing yoga, going on hikes, but unless you find what works for you, it's not gonna get you very far, unfortunately. But dip your toe into all these things and see if, hey, that motivates me to want to do something for myself, whether that can be showering and then saying, hey, I need this time to put in a bath bomb and relax for the rest of the night. So just broadening your horizons to what productivity is for you, especially if you're somebody who is constantly on the go, is going to be super important. Something just fell. I'm not sure what that was, so I'm gonna go check that out. But I'll get back to you in a bit when I go and make some bread, and going to have a chill rest of the night. I need to put on some moisturizer is what I'm realizing while filming this video though, so I'm gonna do that first. And then we're gonna have a chill rest of the night making bread, watching a video on YouTube, probably listening to a podcast. Who knows what else we'll get into, but hope you're following. We're going to be making some bread today. It's a really easy recipe, very easy to follow along too. So we're going to get started right away. First, we're going to grab a large bowl, and I have none of my supplies out, so you are going to be following along with me, quite literally, as I make this bread. This is a very normal night routine after work, so none of my stuff is where I think it is. How long will it take me to find my measuring cup? Let's see. Why didn't you tell me it was right behind me? Anyway, so starting out, it's going to be 3 cups of flour, and I always make a mess with this, so we're going to see exactly how much of a mess I make today. It's not if I make a mess, it's how much of a mess I will make. So, we got 2 cups, chime on the way, and we got 1 cup. Okay, not terribly shabby on the mess. I always make more of a mess than this, but I would have to say that's not terrible. Just saying, not terrible. Okay. Now we're gonna do a tablespoon, and if this goes as poorly, there we are. It's my measuring cup situation, I was gonna be very upset. So a tablespoon of sugar. I don't know why I was going to putting that away. I like to try and follow the cook's technique, if you will, of trying to keep my station clean while I am going. I will leave the flour there because I will need the bread later on this cutting board, but we're going to do a tablespoon of just regular granulated sugar. And I did use King Arthur artisan bread flour, and I did 3 cups of that. So 3 cups of King Arthur artisan bread flour, 1 tablespoon of sugar, granulated sugar, just using the Domino brand. We're going to do 2 tablespoons of yeast, or 1 packet of yeast. I always try to do this without scissors, and then end up having to make more bread than I intended because I accidentally opened 2. we were successful. So, active dry yeast, we are using 2 tablespoons or just 1 packet. But yeah, if you buy it like this or in sets of 3, if you're not making a ton of bread or know things by heart, you may buy yeast out of a container, but if you're just buying it like this, it's going to be 1 packet. So after that is all set, you can go ahead and use your salt. You're going to do I think it's 1 and 1/2 teaspoons. So 1 1/2 teaspoons. And that's just regular table salt. You can use sea salt. I guess that wouldn't be terribly different. Like big chunky sea salt, that might actually be pretty good. And I'm hoping I'm not getting this in. I think this is going, but okay. I eyeball things, okay? I've been doing this recipe long enough. And then 1 1/2 cups of warm water. So I'm just gonna let that go and be warm for a moment. I'm trying to figure out what's missing from my wall right now. So I have a task, but nothing there. All right, warm water going in there. Now you can use the spatula, or you can wet your hands with warm water and start kneading it. If you're not somebody who makes bread fairly often, it will stick to your hands. That is what bread does. So just trying to be careful. Well, you don't really have to be careful. This is kind of the fun of making bread. But trying to get all of that in there. The easiest, since this is technically a no-knead bread recipe, you can use a spatula. You should use a spatula. Ideally a wooden spatula if you have it on hand. But I'm just going to go ahead and hand mix it because I find it fun. So I like my bread a little bit on the softer side of things, so I'm going to go ahead and warm my hands up with some warm water, or go ahead and get some warm water. Whoa. And add until I am content, but I'm not adding a whole lot, so I'm adding no more than what fits in my hand from the sink. Like I'm not putting it in a measuring cup or anything like that. You also don't want to over knead your bread, which is why I'm doing more of a rounding, just scraping it stuff like I am a spatula. But I am kneading occasionally. Alright, once your dough has a good texture, sticky, alright, round dough, like pizza dough, you're gonna go ahead and leave it, but I'm gonna continue doing this for a second. So you can either go ahead and just leave it and then have a plain artisan bread loaf, Or you can go ahead and add some oils if you're liking to it. So I'm just taking a look. I don't actually think I have any rosemary or thyme or anything like that, which is very unfortunate. But I'm just gonna add some oil to it so it's not overly sticky. And I do really, again, love soft bread, so this is going to just make it even softer. I am content with my loaf. Alright, I am now, oh shit, I'm out of parchment paper. Now adding some foil to the top of it. Not some foil, some plastic wrap. And that's just going to go right over top. So then I have my loaf of bread here. If you can see it. Hold on. So I have my loaf of bread. I'm going to take a dishcloth and cover that. And then it will be good for about 2 hours. So I will be back in about that time. All right, it's a bit later now. Welcome back. We're going to go ahead and preheat our oven to 425 degrees. So I'm going to be using either a Dutch oven of sorts or a pan like this if you have one. I prefer the Dutch oven, and then you put a lid on for 45 minutes. So it's going to be 30 minutes with the lid on and then 15 minutes with the lid off, and then you're going to leave it to cool outside of the oven. If you're going to go ahead and use a dish like this, you can go ahead and make them into rolls. I would not suggest that for the first time making this bread loaf. However, you absolutely could if you really wanted to. The reason I do not suggest it is because you have to make the rolls quite small in order for them to be a reasonable dinner roll size. And to get that right can be difficult if you don't have measurements, and I do not have the measurements to give you. So the recipe that I am using, or would recommend to be using, would be to go ahead and take that out of your dish, and then you're going to go ahead and line it with parchment paper. And this would be the same for the rolls. You're going to go ahead and line it with parchment paper, or you can do like I'm going to do and go ahead and add some oil to that bottom of the pan. Parchment paper is the best method. However, I do not have any on hand that I want to use because I want these to be more of like a garlic knot situation without the garlic, if that makes any sense. So just pull apart is what I mean. But I'm going to go ahead and take that out, and then you can flour the surface that you're working with. Once you flour the surface that you're working with, you can go ahead and remove the dough onto that surface. Kind of roll it on. And then you can go ahead and knead it 4 times. So like I'm doing here with the rolls, which I will show you. So you cross it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I already did the 4th, so that's why I didn't. And I'll have to show it in the camera. So 1, 2, 3. It's kind of just pulling apart and setting in. All right, welcome back. So I just opened the oven and our bread is almost done. Depending on how much you like it done, you can take it out now. If it has a hollow sound to it, it is good to go. But I like mine on the crispier side, so I'm actually gonna leave it in for another minute or so and just get it to a nice golden brown. All right, it's a while later now. I am hanging up for the night. Bread has been made. Tomorrow night I'm gonna be cleaning up and getting ready for the weekend so I can have a chill week and then going on a adventure. So hope you stick around for that. If you like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.